thank you so much for joining me for this yoga session. Hopefully all's going well in your life and you are taking care of yourself and staying healthy and trying to remain positive. I know it's really hard sometimes, but that it's so worth it to keep being positive and to keep not losing your faith in humanity and to recognize how you are part of humanity. And if you have faith in yourself, then how can, right, humanity be so bad? Especially if you find people that you love and care about and want to continue to see and be with, right, that is evidence too that good things are happening. So you taking care of yourself, practicing that kindness and compassion with yourself as you move through this practice, that's what helps keep you in that positive frame of mind, helps keep you in that realistic and reasonable frame of mind, and you take care of yourself, only doing what feels good to you and not spending any time treating yourself bad if you don't, if it doesn't happen. So let your awareness become that of your breath. Close your eyes if that is comfortable. Let the breath get full and deep. And that exchange of air, that taking in of the breath and then the sending out of the exhale, that is the rhythm of the universe. And you attach and become super aware of that, setting aside all of the stuff going on in the world, all of the stuff going on in your life, and just be with your breath and that rhythm. Let that breath get as full and deep as feels good, filling up on the inhale, filling up the lower third, then the middle third, then the upper third, and then when you exhale, release upper, middle, lower. Letting that breath be as full and deep as feels good to you. And stay with that awareness of your breath and your body. Press down into your space to feel that connection, to feel yourself anchor in. You can gently pull the tail down, lift on the hip flexors, press the knees away, flex the feet so you feel that connection, that support, that strong base. And then on your exhale, stretch yourself away from that place of anchoring in of that base and stretch into all that space around you that you are meant to take up. So you think about engagement, or actively lift that girdle, that heart up into the space in front of you. Pull those blades down and gently tuck them together. You're not squeezing them like a grape, but they are active and gently pulling down. You might feel a slight pressure on the tops of your shoulders, and this lengthening of your head, tops of the ears, crown of your head closer to the sky, creates this space between your neck and ears. And you're still breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. You've let that breath get as full as feels good to you. Still doing that 3-part yoga breath. Remembering that you are always the ultimate boss. You're always only doing what serves you, doing so with a positive attitude that you're taking care of yourself, so there's no need to be defensive or upset. You're in a safe space. Use this time to cultivate compassion with yourself. You'll find that leads to greater patience. And that patience is what helps to fuel a better place to be, a better humanity. And so do your part to contribute to creating that patience with yourself, with others. Let your hands make their way to your heart and take a moment. If you'd like to set any personal intention you're working on to add to what I've said, please take a moment. Breathing that deep into your soul, imprinting it, and then reinforcing it through our time together. Inhale, spread those arms, keep those shoulder girdles engaged, keep those hip girdles engaged, especially when you're moving. Pull down into your heart center. We're going to do that a couple times. So keeping that girdle engaged means that heart lifted and those blades down. You feel that gentle pressure. That helps to keep you in that upright position. It also means tail down, hip flexors up. A couple more. You should feel this stretch also on your side body. Inhaling and exhaling. Of course, if your toes feel tingly, if your feet are tingly, move them into a place that feels more comfortable. Always protecting yourself, hands to your heart, keep those glutes down. Inhale, lift up, exhale, hinge forward, and then lift yourself up, and then that's on an inhale. Exhale, twist gently to the right and hinge forward, inhaling, lifting up. Twist to the left, hinge down. So it's an inhale, lift, and then back into the middle to then go to each side again. Exhale on the hinge. Keep trying to put your opposite glute down. Let's do it 3 times. Inhaling and exhaling. Lifting yourself, rotating your trunk as you keep that base nice and supported, and then let that go, and then let yourself unwind from that seated position. Keep those knees bent. Start to do those windshield wipers to get that blood flowing, to wake up. You're not putting all the weight on your limbs. You're holding yourself in your trunk. Always pulling that tail down, pulling those blades down, lifting that heart, lifting those hip flexors. Inhaling and exhaling. And then let those legs come back into just a comfortable seated position. Doesn't matter how they show up. You might want to switch. Maybe whatever leg was on top or in front, you can move to the back just to get a little bit more space in your hips. Always pressing down that back body, always lifting that front body, and you're just breathing full and deep. And we're going to stay with that base, lifting up, and then twist. Once again, we're twisting to, well, it's a little bit more. You're bringing, I'm twisting to the right. That right hand is behind me. Left hand on the knee, come back up to then twist to the opposite side, and keep those girdles engaged. And here, the shoulder blades do squeeze together a little bit in order to help with that, getting just a little bit more twisted try to keep your awareness on your navel and your heart. Your navel stays anchored and you are lifting that upper body. Squeeze those blades together, lift that heart. Keep that navel anchored, that heart twists away. All right, pause. I'm pausing to the right, right arm behind me, left hand on that right leg. That navel is staying anchored, pointing between between my legs, and then I'm lifting and rotating the heart, keeping those blades pulled together so the heart can come up, but not straining, always putting the weight in the trunk. I'm going to lift I'm looking behind over my right shoulder. I'm going to lift that right arm. This is a big stretch. Dip that left shoulder down to that left knee. Inhaling and exhaling, breathing full and deep, and then bring yourself up, coming into that upright position to let that right arm release down, and then bring those arms back through center to pause. Other side, same thing. Navel stays anchored. You are lifting, pulling that those blades together, and then tipping down to that opposite limb, and then lifting up and coming back through center. And you're going to start to do that. And this time you're going to bring that arm over and bring it over onto the opposite knee, and then turn towards the center, and then other arm back towards the center. Inhaling and exhaling. Blades come together when you're reaching back. Blades pull apart. You pull that navel up and in. Couple more. Inhaling and exhaling. I love this stretch. And then you are pausing, coming up, just noticing how you feel, breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. And then bring yourself over onto your hands and knees. Make sure you've got something to drink and take a break if you need it. You'll see me stop and take a drink. I think I'm going to do that. I'm also going to make a little pillow for my knees. So when I press back into my child, I am completely comfortable. You are breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest. Exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. Letting that breath get fuller and deeper, taking up more space in your body. Staying with that awareness of engaging your girdle, so you're holding yourself in those places of support. If you see me reaching those hands over those blocks, if you want to try it, you can, please do, but keep those, just remember it's a lot intense, so keep those shoulder blades pulled out of your ears. And any time it doesn't feel good, don't do it. All right, lift yourself up into your stable table. So now those knees come underneath those hips. Hands walk underneath those shoulders, and you are in that active table. Not hyperextending those elbows, keeping those shoulders out of the ears, going through that tiny pelvic tilt to find that place of support. Maybe do it 2 or 3 times and then pull into that place of support, so that is you actively pulling down those glutes, actively lifting those hip flexors, pulling that navel up, and then holding that engagement. And then upper body, pull those shoulders out of your ears, and then squeeze the blades together, and then pull them apart a few times, maybe 2, maybe 3, and then hold yourself in that place of support. You're pulling those blades gently down and together, not squeezing the grape. You're pulling that heart up, and then your cat and cow is right in your middle back. So you're keeping those girdles engaged. And that's one of those things, I'm going to talk about that over and over, and if you try it and it's just not for you, well then of course you don't have to do it. But if you're like, what is she talking about? And you keep trying to feel yourself engaged, inside your body. And if you're like, sometimes I feel it and sometimes I don't, then keep trying. Keep trying. And those of you that know, right, that the more you practice, the more it's sustainable, and the magical feeling it leaves you in your body. All right. It also helps to protect you, and you move better all over your life. So it just increases the quality of your life. Pause from that movement to press back once again into your child. This is a hinge over your bent legs. Inhaling and exhaling. That is what this child's pose is. Yes, it's a resting posture, but you are still engaged in order to, so you can get that optimum stretch in all these poses. Inhaling and exhaling, staying with your breath and your body and how it feels, and showing up for yourself with kindness, compassion, and love. All right, up into that table. Make sure that you've got room behind you. Send that right leg back, pressing through that heel. Don't let that right leg travel out to the right. Keep pulling it into the midline. Your kneecap is pulled up and pointing down. Your toes are pointing down. You're pressing through that heel. And then keeping the awareness in the upper trunk now, that upper girdle, keeping those shoulders square. Lift that opposite limb. Inhale and exhale, breathing full and deep. Only if you want to do this and it doesn't cause you any strain, bend that right knee and then reach back with that left arm. You don't have to even get the foot. Try to keep pressing through the heel. Try to keep that shoulder engaged. Play around. Don't take yourself too seriously. Also, don't hurt yourself. So that's why I'm saying don't strain. Always being gentle on your body, on your joints. Rest completely. Now, I did right arm, left leg. Right leg, left arm as what we reached out. And if you did that differently than right leg, left arm, then that's okay. Just manage it. You're going to lift up into that table again. Make sure that you are in that stable table, and then you are sending that left leg behind you, breathing full and deep. Keep lifting that front body. Keep pulling down that back body, keeping those shoulders engaged, not hyperextending that elbow. Stay lifted off that left arm as you bend. I'm cracking. I love to crack. Bend that knee and then reach back, not straining. You don't even have to get the foot. You can just reach back towards the foot as you are protecting yourself. Inhale and exhale, and then back out to, once again, come back into that child, completely resetting, breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest, exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. Taking care of yourself. Remember to drink your water. Next is downward dog. It is a big stretch. Keep those girdles engaged. So pull that tail down. Lift those hip flexors and that navel. Pull that heart up. Then pull down, or lift that heart up and pull down those blades. Keep all that awareness as you lift up. You're finding the balls of your hands and your feet, and that is what you are looking to find the support. Your heels may or may not come, your foot heels may or may not come to the floor, but definitely try to feel the heel of your hand in the floor. But most of the weight is on the ball. Inhaling and exhaling, stay in that awareness and move as much or as little as feels good to you. Inhaling and exhaling, taking your time to make your way from your downward dog up into your forward fold, whether you come down to hands and knees or you lift that lower girdle a little bit higher and let that upper girdle come a little bit lower, and you walk as many steps, however it looks, up into the front of your space. Make sure you are on solid legs. Keep those kneecaps pulled up into your thighs. Find those balls and heels. Lift the toes. They're doing no work. Inhale and exhale. Let yourself dangle. Breathing full and deep. You can do the weighted dangle with your hands and your elbows. Keep those knees bent. You can also do the swing to the side to side. Eventually you're going to be done with movement. Find yourself in that forward fold. You're putting the weight in your back body. It took me forever to figure this out, and that's what you need to be doing, is putting the weight in your back body. Keep those knees bent in order to protect those hamstrings. Inhale, halfway, flat back. Really activate, push back through those glutes. Exhale, back to the floor, that forward fold. Try to bring that upper girdle lower than that lower girdle. And then inhale, halfway, flat back. Remember, toes not doing any of the work. Reach back on the next exhale for the toes, the blocks. Maybe you've got a chair. Find that hinge. The next time it can be that great big reverse swan dive. Put that weight in your back body, reaching up, coming up. And if that makes you feel dizzy, come up one step at a time. Keep those knees really bent. And then, of course, you can reach those arms up over your head and finding yourself on both legs, right? And your legs start at your lower girdle. You're pressing down into those balls and heels, lifting your digits, spreading them wide for that gentle grip into the mat. Kneecaps come up into your thighs, and then your thighs plug into that lower girdle. Engage those sockets. That is you pulling that tail down and lifting those hip flexors. In order to find that place of support, I really have to pull down and a little bit and then really pull up in order to find that place where I'm in that place of support. So navel dimples down, solid base, and then navel dimples up. I just feel like I'm floating right over my body. That heart is lifted, those blades are gently tucking down, and I feel connected to the rhythm of the whole universe. The inhale and the exhale, the sending and the receiving. I can feel the lift, and I can also feel the anchoring in and how it's all coming from within, especially when I engage those girdles. So that is you manipulating the framework and the muscle. It's you engaging the sockets, your left hip socket, your right hip socket, your left hip or your left shoulder socket, your right shoulder socket, how your limbs plug in, and use those ball and socket joints, moving them around like they're supposed to, always protecting then the delicate elbows, knees, wrists, ankles, and then the digits, whether they're on your hands or on your feet. Those are very delicate. All right, reach into as much of a back bend as feels good, and then exhale, come into that forward fold. So you're still trying to keep all that awareness and that engagement into that forward fold. Lift up halfway into that flat back, and you're going to step back into your plank, knee down plank, or table. Now, if you're up on blocks like me, you're really got that shoulder girdle engaged, because that helps to keep you strong and safe and supported. If you feel pain in the top of your shoulder, you might be doing too much, or you're not pulling your shoulders out of your ears enough. Release down. Keep practicing. My top of my shoulder hurt for a really long time until I got conditioned. Keep pressing that lower body down as you then lift that heart, baby cobra. You're using those arms, and the elbows are coming down by your obliques. Baby cobra. 2. Back down. 3rd baby cobra. Let that lower body be really heavy. Inhale and exhale. If you are feeling really open And you want to press up into that higher Cobra. It's up to you and your back. Never go too far. And if this hurts on your low back, then you're not putting the weight in that lower trunk, and it takes practice. And then decide, come all the way down, or curl your toes right where you're at, and make your way into that downward dog. Always protecting the delicate joints, finding your sockets, activating your limbs out of your sockets, breathing full and deep. Up into the front of your space, or you are coming down to hands and knees to come up into that forward fold. Put that weight in that back body. Halfway up on the inhale. Exhale for the toes. Inhale, keep those sockets engaged. Lift up into as much of a back bend as feels good. Exhale, however you want to come through center to come back down into that forward fold, hinging up halfway, back down halfway to step back. You're hinged, and then you're back in your plank, your knee down plank, and your table, bearing your weight, coming all the way to the belly, bearing your weight. Let that back and lower body be really heavy. Let that front and upper body be really light. And then lift that lower girdle up higher than the upper girdle, breathing full and deep. And then the upper girdle is coming lower than the lower girdle. And then take your time up to the front of your space, walking however feels good. Make sure you feel solid. Up halfway, back down, all the way back up. Find that length. Keep those girdles engaged. Hinge at those hips to come down to that forward fold. Lift halfway, flat back. Feel your trunk move on those ball and socket hinges. Stepping back into that plank, knee down plank, releasing however feels good to you. Bearing your weight so you are engaging. That's to help you lift a laundry basket the rest of your life. Coming up into your plank or your Cobra or your up dog. And then once again into that downward dog. And rest in that dog. We just went through sun salutation 3 times. After you rest in that dog for 2 to 3 breaths, and then make your way down to rest completely in your child's pose, breathing full and deep. Stay with your breath. Let your heart rate come to a manageable level. Let your breath be manageable. Try to keep finding that space between your thoughts, practicing that kindness, compassion, and love with yourself. Maybe relaxing the judge and the jury for a while and just being the witness. Not labeling things good or bad, just being aware of what is coming up. That is really hard because we're conditioned to think we need to be judging all the time. And that we have some sort of control if we can judge, but yeah, it's bullshit. We don't. It's just keeping you exhausted. All right, you're going to come up into that downward dog or that table. Doesn't matter how you get that right leg up into the sky. I'm going to come to that downward dog. I'm going to step that left foot just a little bit closer to my hands so I've got more of a base as I lift that right leg, keeping the heart anchored on to the floor as I now twist my navel away. Inhaling and exhaling, and then bring that right foot up between your hands. Doesn't matter if you bring those knees down or not. You're in that warrior 1. So if it's all right with your body, press that back heel down. Keep that right knee bent, and your belly is right on the inside of that right thigh, and your balls and heels are doing the work. And then lifting yourself into your warrior one. And you might want to move your legs on railroad tracks. It's all about keeping those hips square, trying to keep pulling the navel so it is squaring with the short edge as well as that heart. And so bringing those legs a little bit wider apart. Like, you don't have to have the heels lined up. You don't have to. You're always protecting your knees, pulling those kneecaps up into your thighs, breathing full and deep. All right, this is warrior one. We're going to move into warrior two, which is opening to the long edge of the space. So you rotate your trunk, rotate in those hip sockets, and then reach wide. Keep that knee bent. Inhale and exhale. Sometimes you have to take the step a little bit further back. This is where we're going to play around with a little bit of that moving into, just so you feel the hips move into each of the poses and the squaring. So we're going to reach back into that warrior one. Don't hurt that back leg as you gently pull that left knee, and then open up to that warrior two. Make sure you get that trunk back into that place. Third time, reach into that warrior one. So now that left side reaches to the short edge, and then open to that warrior two. Inhaling and exhaling. We're going to come forward into that side angle. I love to get a block down right on the inside of my right leg. I'm dropping that knee. I'm dropping my back body. I'm lifting my front body. And when I say dropping that knee, I'm trying to get that knee so it stays right over my right ankle. So I'm trying to really feel that lunge. That's where you want to feel this, is in that lower core, that lower trunk. Inhale and exhale, breathing full and deep. We're going to look down at that right foot, and we're going to now rotate into that runner's lunge. So pop that back heel up, bring that left leg so it is square to the mat, and you're going to bring that right leg back into either a three-legged dog or just a downward dog, or maybe you want to come to a table. Inhale and exhale, and then right foot meets left foot. Hang in that downward dog. Notice how you feel. Breathe full and deep. Of course, you can come to child at any time. I'm going to rotate so I stay facing you. We're going to bring that left leg up. Take your time. I've stepped that right leg up a little bit. Bring that left leg up. I'm keeping that heart anchored, rotating the navel away. Keep pulling down that tail. Keep lifting those hip flexors. I'm also cracking my knee because I love to do that. Inhale and exhale. Bring that left foot up between your hands. Take your time. That right leg is back behind you. You're coming into your warrior one legs to then lift into the warrior one stance, and you are pulling that back body down. Find your crack and line it up to the back of your space. Find your navel, find your heart. Keep trying to line it up to the front of your space. Inhale and exhale, and then open to that warrior two. Take a moment. Drop down in between those sockets, always staying with that engagement, pulling down, lifting up, breathing full and deep, and then lift into that warrior one, open back up, warrior two, reach, warrior one, open back up, warrior two, one more time, reach, and then open. Remember, the balls are doing the work, not your toes. Coming into your side angle. So I'm actually trying to get my hips as low as my knee. Keep protecting that knee. I've got my whole foot on the floor, my toes doing no work. I'm always trying to rotate my whole front body up to the sky. I'm always trying to rotate my whole back body like I'm going to levitate on a table. Inhaling and exhaling. Stay with your breath. And then make your way into your runner's lunge. So make sure you've got support. Pop that back heel up. Remember, you can drop right to knees. You don't have to do a three-legged dog. But if that would feel good, woo, crack. Do that. Inhale and exhale. And then bring yourself back into a full downward dog to once again drop to knees, to press back into that child, to rest completely, reset, inhaling and exhaling, breathing full and deep. Stay with that rhythm of your breath. That is the same rhythm of the universe. It is the rhythm of life. We are so far from removed with all of our amenities and gadgets that we have no connection. And then we foolishly think we can control things. And we foolishly think we can force and fight things. And when you really connect to that rhythm within you, that is the same out in the universe, that's the same in everybody, and you root and ground down within yourself and find how you are your own rock, and then you feel like you're your own wind beneath your wings. And I know all that can be pretty cheesy, but it's the truth. And it's right, there's always truth in everything. And you are your own rock. You are your own wind beneath your wings. Just like you are your own worst critic, you also are your own biggest fan. And both all is embracing all, integrating all. It just makes for a better quality of life. And it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it. It is so worth it. It's how you, right, carry your own luggage, right? You carry your own baggage. And you got it. All right, asking for help when you need it. That's what's so wonderful about life, and finding people that you love and that love you. All right, lift into your downward dog, or you're just coming into a table and then coming up to then come up in steps to up into standing on two legs. Inhaling and exhaling, find yourself in that mountain, breathing full and deep, navel, ribs, chest, exhaling fully, chest, ribs, navel. Stay with your breath, stay with the rhythm of life. All right, I love to use blocks. You'll also see me go for this window ledge right here. This is a big stretch, and you are not straining, and you're only going as much as feels good to you. But this is really good to practice, because like I did not start off able to do what I can do, but if you keep practicing, right, that's what happens. So I am bearing down with my whole back and lower body. I am lifting up with my whole front and upper body. Both those things are happening with all of those places always at the same time. The weight comes into the right leg. I'm not using my balls. I'm not using my toes. I'm using my balls. And this is where you can have a wall or a chair. I bent the left leg, got the left knee pretty close to the right knee. Keep those hips square. Don't lock out that right knee. That left hand is going to reach for the inside. That opens up the shoulder. If that doesn't work for your body, then reach for the outside. And this is another one of those places where You don't want to strain. Keep pulling that left side. And if you fall, don't hurt yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. Just readjust. Use support. All right, this is dancer. That right arm lifts, that shoulders engage. Here's where I'm using that wall in front of me as I press that left foot into that left arm. Keep those hips square. Keep those shoulders square. Don't hyperextend the elbow or the knee, the right knee, left elbow. Inhale and exhale, and then lift. Woo. And then bring both down. Breathe for a couple breaths. Notice how you feel. And then it is all about the other side, and it's playing around. You are protecting your joints. You're only coming as far forward. This is a hinge. You can use blocks, a table, chairs, whatever, to help you, the wall, in order to help you stay in that place of support. Inhale and exhale, coming into the full balance to then come back onto hands or onto feet, hands out to your sides or on your body. Breathing full and deep, staying with that awareness. And then let your legs be a little bit wider than your hips so you have this nice comfortable pose. So you can rotate to the left and pull up that right knee, protecting your legs. So the same thing. You can rotate to the right a little bit and pull up that left heel. Did I say that's what I mean, the heel? I think I might have said knee. Of course, your kneecaps are always pulled in. Let your arms just be kind of loose at your sides, and then let yourself start to move in these empty coat sleeves. Keep those hips and shoulder girdles engaged. Inhaling and exhaling. It's like you're giving yourself a nice pat on the back. You're getting a nice massage. Let your arms just be wet noodles. Inhaling and exhaling. It's just activating the fascia. And then find yourself in stillness, back into your mountain. Both feet underneath your hips. You're lifting those kneecaps, lifting that front body, dropping that back body. So you are coming into that place. Into that place of support. So your back body always going down, front body always coming up. It is seriously one of the best things I ever learned in life. I mean, it blows everything else out of the water because it is deep into my soul and core, and it just, right, that's how everybody moves. We've all got that in us. And that dancer pose, you might think, what would be the point of doing that? I'm never going to be able to do it, but I'm helping you get into your hips because then we'll pretend like this block is in the dishwasher. You can play around with hinging down to get something out of your dishwasher, right? So you are hinging, putting something in that dishwasher and coming up, and you're doing that on both legs, right? So you're practicing, and that's what, right, that dancer is that same thing. You can also have that foot behind you, keep those feet square, those hips square, and come up and down that way. That's a great way to practice until you until you can start to balance. All right, let's come down onto those hands and knees to then make your way onto your back. Let yourself rock, circle, move however feels good. Try to feel your whole back body on the mat. Keep pulling that tail down. Keep lifting those hip flexors up. Only if it feels good to you, where you can feel all of your rib cage on the mat and it does not hurt your low back. Pick up those feet and rock and circle. That takes a lot of ab strength. If it does not feel good to you or it hurts your low back, if your front abs are a little bit weak, that's okay. You're practicing, or you're taking a breather and only going as much as feels good. Maybe sometimes you can do it and you just don't feel like doing it. That's totally cool. But when I mean doing it, I mean lifting your feet. Inhale and exhale. Let yourself rock and circle. Eventually you're going to be done. Have those feet, if it's comfortable, just have them be on the floor, maybe a little bit wider than hips, and drop those knees in. Now pull, let's go to the upper body. Pull that collarbone away. Pull those shoulders out of your ears. Bring those arms down by your sides. And then keep those shoulders engaged. Collarbone slides apart. Heart lifts up. Shoulder blades come down. Keep the girdle engaged as you lift the arms up above your head. And it feels a little awkward, but if you are reaching from the middle part of your body, then you are reaching from the ball and socket joint. We're going to lower down and lift back up. If it feels good to you to come behind, keep that girdle engaged. That's a big stretch, but it feels amazing, I think. You can go back and forth. So you're not just reaching your arms up off the air. You are bearing down with that back body and then reaching the arms up over into the air over your head. All right, go through another full breath. And then pause, keep those girdles engaged, the arms up towards the sky. Reach now the blades, reach your arms up towards each other, blades off, and then drop down. So do that thumping a couple times. This is it. Of course, I don't want you to hurt yourself, but this is you getting that fascia moving around. Inhale and exhale a couple times. It's a gentle thump. And then pause. Arms come down by your sides. Now relax. Inhale and exhale. Now, depending on where your ponytail is, if you have a ponytail, this next little thing might be difficult, so you might want to move your ponytail out of the way so your nose, pointing it up towards the sky, gently, and so then think about your nose and your chin. Now pull the nose down so your chin is really tucked, and then lift up and move with a gentle movement. And this also feels better if you put a blanket. I think you might, instead of being on a sticky mat, your head slides a little better. But it's also one of those things, if you have hair hardware, it might just be too much work for you even to do anything, but that movement of lengthening your neck feels amazing. All right, you're going to bring that movement to stillness. Arms come out to the side. Drop those knees over to one side. Doesn't matter which side that is. Inhaling and exhaling. I've got them over to the left. I've got the right knee stacked on top of the left knee. I am jiggled up onto that left hip. You can also take that right leg, that top leg, whatever, it doesn't have to be the right leg, whatever the top leg is, and reach and press through that heel. It adds a little bit more. Bring that back in and then move to the other side. So you are getting that same rotation. It's middle back, spinal rotation. Heart stays anchored. Navel goes to stretch, and then you can press through that top leg heel, straightening out that leg if you want that stretch down your IT band and glutes. Keep pulling that tail down. Keep lifting those hip flexors back into that neutral position to move, to rock. Ooh, any way that feels good to you. Let yourself settle onto your back, taking 5, 7, 8, 10 minutes to rest and relaxation if you have it. Really let all of this get into your muscle memory. If you'd rather not lay down, then sit in meditation. Take some time to not distract with your phone or your thoughts, and just be with your breath and yourself and practice that kindness, compassion, and love. Namaste. Until next time, please take care. Bye.